everybody, it's Leah from Leah's Crazy Cake Lab, and recently I went to a Mylie Cyrus concert. It was great, it was interesting, but it was fun. She's a great performer, she's very talented. I'm not really sure about, her fans. Everybody dresses like her, of course, but then there are the guys who dress in completely sparkles and a Speedo and that's it, and I'm not sure I understand that. Mylie never wears that, but somehow they were inspired to wear that. But I was inspired to make this. I'm sure most of you have seen or heard about her wrecking ball video. It's very scandalous. It has a lot of media, and I just thought it would be hilarious to make and to try. So this is Leah in my Crazy Cake Lab making a crazy experiment, and I hope you guys enjoy. So I'm using Barbie, this Barbie. As long as she just has bendy arms and bendy legs, you can use her. Because I couldn't find a Hannah Montana doll or a Mylie Cyrus doll. Do you know how hard it is to find one of those? I mean, Mylie, come on. Just between me and you, there's a Justin Bieber doll at Toys R Us. Justin freaking Bieber. And no Mylie Cyrus doll. If I were you, I'd be slightly offended and I would probably do something about it. We're gonna have to do something about this hair because it's not Mylie Cyrus-esque. So we're gonna cut it basically like a mohawk. I think I'm gonna twist her hair like this so it'll be easier to cut. And here we go. Sorry, Barbie. Oh, God, you have such thick hair. Oh, there we go. Oh, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. And I'm gonna cut it. Oh. If I get injured from cutting her hair, I'm suing Barbie. So now, we're gonna do her mohawk part, or her faux hawk, or pompadour, whatever you want to call it. I want to make sure that I make it long enough, so cut. All right, so we're gonna go like this. That's kind of perfect, and smooth her hair out a little bit and just do some finishing touches here. We can tell I'm not a hairdresser. That was pretty hard. And sharp scissors would have been awesome. But you get the idea. She's got the hairstyle. It would have been hilarious with a Hannah Montana doll too. So if you could find that, that would be awesome also. You can see that when I started with a really small angle. You can always cut more, but you can never cut less. So you want to start with something small, and then you want to make it, more round as you go. And you can see it makes quite a mess, so I keep a plate where I can, contain the mess. Normally, if I want to do something rounded and make a rounded top, I can usually just use icing, but since we're putting Mylie Cyrus on top of it, I want to do some extra cake so that she actually has something to sit on and it's round. I just cut this out of some extra cake, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to round it, but I want to make it so that it matches this part of the cake too. Now I'm just going to do a quick crumb ice, kind of try and do round it a little bit more with the icing, and then we're going to go ahead and use our quick icer and make it look like a wrecking ball. So for the color, I used gray, really dark gray, and we used a lot of it so that it came out with this color. And also, there is going to be a centering dowel in this cake, but right now it doesn't have a dowel. So you want to make sure that you've you know, if you've, when you've cut it, that it didn't get off center. And as you can see, I'm only crumb icing. I'm not icing it fully, so you can still see the cake. I want to show you. You do very little pressure on the bottom, and you add pressure as you go up, and you release the pressure as you get to the top so that it's rounded. So very little pressure, and then more pressure, and then release the pressure. And that's how you get the rounded. If you've ever watched how to do the pumpkin cake, it's kind of like that. Now we're going to take our little spatula, and I'm just going to do an angle almost like the angle that we were when we were cutting the cake. So just do 45-degree angle and just pull it. Use your turntable. Your turntable is like your best friend. And just keep going around. And then kind of take off a little bit of the mess so that it's easier to wipe off and you don't get it on your icing. Then I'm going to just come up and over and round it a little bit more. Take off all the edges from my quick icer that I made. And it's almost the same technique. You just do a little pressure and then a little more pressure and then less. And we want to get rid of all the creases so that when we're ready to smooth it completely, that we don't have a problem with all the creases in the cake. You can see that when I was smoothing the sides, that it did put more icing on the top. So now what you want to do is you just want to just take that icing off, make sure that it's level, because you can see that one side is a little bit taller than the other. So just take a little off. It's okay if a little cake is showing on the top because you're going to put the Barbie there. So go like that, and then just smooth a little bit. And then the next thing we're going to do is use our handy dandy Ziploc trick. I'm just using a little wet paper towel to clean up the mess. This time I'm being a little more careful because I don't want to take off a bunch of the icing. So I'm using just a Ziploc bag, and I'm only going to use the end of it. So I'm just cutting what I need. And I don't want a lot of the excess bag on the back because it really gets in the way and it makes a mess. So there's that, and we're going to start smoothing our ball. You've seen my other videos where we've used the Ziploc bag trick a bunch of times. I use it for pretty much everything. This time it's a little bit more extreme because we're actually smoothing the entire ball. So I'm going to use the same technique that I did with the little spatula. Is you're just going to start from the bottom and come up, and you really want to use pretty light strokes because you're really not molding anymore at this point. You're just smoothing the edges that you've created, and you're just making it as smooth as possible. So right now we're going up and over. And you want to make sure that you do have some extra Ziploc bags because it does get a little dirty and in the way, and then it starts to not work as well. I know that I go really fast. I do this all the time, but take your time with this. You know, you want it to be as smooth as possible. You want it to look as real as possible. So now that I'm done doing that, I'm going to get a clean one. And I'm going to go around the bottom first and just kind of smooth out the bottom. You're going to have to clean the bottom a lot. So don't worry about it right now. And just go around and around. Make sure that you're going over all the lines that you've missed. Look it over. Make sure that it looks like Miley Cyrus's wrecking ball. Remember I said that we were gonna have to clean up a lot with this cake, so you kind of want to spend some time cleaning up the bottom part so there's not any icing. So what I did is I used a skewer. I made this a point, and I used a skewer, and I just went like that so that I could clean off the edges and not touch the cake. You're probably gonna bump the cake a little bit, but that's okay. You could just smooth it out with your Ziploc bag. But this is a lot easier, and this platter is dipped in a little bit, so it's kind of cool because it makes it look more round. But if you want it to be a little bit easier, you want to use a flatter platter. A flatter platter. Anyway, you want to use a flatter platter because it'll be easier to clean off the insides. Now we're making the chain that's connected to the wrecking ball. So I have my skewer here that we're going to stick in. And I've kind of just covered it a little bit with candy melt so that, you know, it's black and doesn't have the wood showing. So now we're going to make the chains, and we're just going to do a squiggly S shape all the way down to where I've marked it, because we're going to put the rest of this in the cake. Now you don't have to put it all the way down. I'm just going to start from the top here, and I'm going to leave just a little bit so I have some room to hold on to when I'm going to stick it in. And we're just going to do an S shape like this all the way down to about there. And then I'm going to go the opposite way. So I'm going to start this way, and I'm just going to connect them. We're also going to make the hook that the chain is supposed to be connected to. So it's just a little horseshoe shape. So, and I want to make it a little bit thicker. So just like that. And remember that when we're working with candy melt, and sometimes it breaks, so we want to make some extras just in case. So my candy melts have been in the freezer for just a few minutes. They dry really fast. You want them to be hard. And we're just going to stick it in the middle of the cake. So I've marked where the middle is, and I'm just going to stick it in there. And like I said earlier, you don't have to stick it in all the way. So just as long as you can see the chain. There we go. And we're going to put the hook on there. So this is the smallest one I made. And I'm just going to put it in like that. Alright, and then it's time to put Miley Cyrus on. So now it's time to put this little beautiful thing on. So we're just going to bend her legs. Is something not right here? Something seems not right. Oh, did Miley Cyrus have clothes on in that music video? She didn't have clothes on. I guess we're going to have to take her clothes off. Okay, so now we have Miley Cyrus, and you kind of want to mold her first so that, you know, so that you don't mess with the cake too much. So we're going to bend her back, and there you go. There's Miley Cyrus on her beautiful wrecking ball. So this is just a last minute addition. It's really fun if you want to use it for a party or anything like that. We just made a cake pop sledgehammer. And you can see it's just a rectangle box and a big pretzel rod and dipped in black candy melt. As some of you know, Mylie Cyrus likes to lick sledgehammers. I don't know, but it's funny and it's fun for a party if you want to do the little cake pops on the side. And yeah. So normally I would say I hope you guys have fun watching this, and it would be perfect for a birthday. Or honestly, I'm really not sure what you would use this for. I mean, if you're a hardcore Mylie Cyrus fan, or you know, one of those guys wearing completely nothing but sparkles in a Speedo at our concerts, I don't know. I just thought it was hilarious, and I thought it was really fun to do. So I'll see you guys next time. Remember to like us, remember to share. It really helps us out. Don't forget to join me on my blog at www.leahscrazycakelab.blogspot.com. And don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time. Do you realize that this doll came with no underpants? What kind of message are we sending? I mean, Mylie, I don't get this. Why would you actually want to lick a sledgehammer? I mean, I get the significance of the video about your ex-boyfriend, blah, blah, but licking a sledgehammer? I just